Welcome to Hidden Gems of Nature. We're on the San Juan River today. This is the first day of a 3-day trip. My brother-in-law Ted will pan on the parking lot so you can see where we're at and where we're putting in. And then he'll show you what the river looks like as he comes back around. It's spring break, so a lot of people are heading down the river. Most of them are in rafts, but we're going to be running the river in kayaks for the next 3 days and do a lot of hikes along the way. Join us as we explore and discover all the hidden gems along this section of the San Juan River in southern Utah. At Hidden Gems of Nature, I don't tell you what the destination is. Instead, I give you clues so you can explore and discover these hidden gems or your own hidden gems. So watch carefully as we identify clues to find these destinations. And remember, subscribe to Hidden Gems of Nature YouTube channel. This is a well-known location on the kayak trip. Really quite spectacular, and when you're underneath it, it's even more majestic. We're just doing a little speed run right next to the wall. Kind of fun. We're just under a small overhang. We came out from under the overhang and across the river. There were a couple of wild horses. There were 4 or 5 in the herd. I couldn't tell if they were feral horses or mustangs. So today is a lot of class 1s, and here's a little class 1 right here that my nephew Luke is going down. Guess Luke's not that friendly. So his brother Garrett is. We're flowing at about a 650 to 680 today. It's March 2021. Little class 1 rapid. And here comes Grandpa. He almost got you, Lloyd.
Almost dumped me.
So this is the out spot for stopping and seeing some petroglyphs. It's a tight squeeze. There's a small wash that empties into the San Juan, and we stopped, pulled out at the small wash, and we will head up this little trail. And to the right is the petroglyphs. So the petroglyphs are right up on this wall. So looking from the petroglyph cliff, you can see the river's just below us. You can actually see these petroglyphs from the river. You just have to be looking for them. We're at about mile 4.5. We're just going 7.5 miles today. We'll go down 2 more miles, jump out and see some ruins, and then head down to our camp after the ruins. We hike through this brush that borders the river. Once we've hiked through here, you can see the red rock cliffs and the dwellings just up against the cliff. It's only about a 1/4 mile from the river. This is a 14-room ruin. It's really kind of cool. Along with the 14-room ruin, just down the cliff face about 75 yards is another very small ruin. We'll go down to that one as well. Difficult to see this, but right back in this corner is a small door, and that's an entrance to another smaller part of this ruin set. So my nephew Garrett just climbed the face, and he's going to go into the door and see if he comes out the other side. Does it go through or does it stop? All right, Garrett, man.
In the middle, there's this divider.
Oh, really? And you had to go through the divider? There's a rabbit hole in the divider?
Yeah.
Cool. After visiting the ruins, we kayaked about a mile to our camp. And across from our camp, we had a couple of burros stop in. These are wild burros over on the reservation. This is day 2 of our San Juan River trip. Today, our focus is whitewater. This section of the river goes through a canyon. And in the canyon, you have all the Class 2 rapids. So we're excited about a fun day on the river. This section of the river also goes through a protected Bighorn Sheep location. And we also have a canyon that we're going to try and hike up as well. So it should be another fun day on the San Juan River. Join us as we explore and discover all the beauties of nature along this river. So we've just entered the canyon, as you can tell by the walls of the canyon. It narrows in this section, and this is of course where the rapids pick up. We're heading down the river, and you can see the size of these cliffs. I don't know if this picture does it justice, but those things are sitting very high above the river. After we went through a series of Class 2 rapids, we came to one of the larger Class 2 rapids on the river. I'll let you enjoy the video and the music as my brother-in-law's family come down the rapid. These kayaks have large cockpits, and because of that, when we go through a large Class 2 rapid like this one, they take on a lot of water. So after the rapid, we have to stop and empty the water. I'll do a 360-degree view around this canyon. Gives you a feel for what you're going down. It's kind of like the Gila box on steroids. It's a great little run. You may notice in the tandem kayak, my 7-year-old nephew, who sits in front of my brother-in-law, raises his hands high above his head with his paddle prior to going into the rapid. The reason he does that is to keep his paddle out of the way of my brother-in-law, so that my brother-in-law can actually navigate through the rapid. You'll also notice that this kayak has no kind of mini skirt or full body skirt on it, so they take on a lot more water than the rest of the kayaks. However, my brother-in-law told me that with Gavin in the front, he takes the brunt of all the water and he stays pretty dry in the back, so he's happy to have some kind of protection in the kayak. And his son thinks it's a riot to get hit in the face with the water. There's a number of sections along the river where you have these overhangs. It's kind of fun just to paddle through them, see what's underneath, or to get in underneath them and out of the sun. Most of the time you have a beach on one side or the other, but not in this section. We got full cliffs on both sides, short, small 15-20 foot cliff. So kind of a neat little section. Little alcove as we come around the corner. Oh, nice picture, Kurt. Got my finger in there, my paddle in there. This is the only Class 3 rapid on this section of the river. You might have also noticed that Lloyd has a bag on the front of his boat and no one else does. Lloyd has been on dozens and dozens of whitewater rafting trips, but he's never done a whitewater kayaking trip. So he packed for a raft trip, which is bring lots of gear, including the kitchen sink. And a kayak trip, you have to pack light, like a backpacking trip. So it's a completely different set of equipment that you take on a raft trip versus a kayak trip. Right after this Class 3 rapid, there were 2 bighorn sheep on the left side of the river. I hurried and grabbed my camera, but was looking straight into the sun, so I did not get a very good picture of them. However, 3 years ago, when we went down the river, we got some great pictures of bighorn sheep, so I threw one of those in. In fact, we saw over 20 3 years ago. On this trip, we only saw these 2. It's a cool rock formation as we kayak down the river. This is the last of the large rated rapids in this section of the river. And although you can't tell by the video, it makes a dogleg left. And so as you're coming down the rapid, you're of course having to turn left. And on river right, there's a large ledge, and so you have to be careful not to undercut that ledge at the same time. So to me, this is the most difficult rapid on the river. I love this rapid. It's a fun one to run, and to me, the most challenging. Enjoy it as you watch a number of the people in Ted and Allison's family run the rapid. I was trying to teach the girls to do a whitewater kayak entry into the river. Yeah, it didn't work. This is about the halfway spot on the 3-day trip. And we've never hiked up this canyon before, so we thought we'd pull over, hike up the canyon, and see what we could find. So we'll hike up this canyon and share what we discover. Right here off the river, we come around, and right here in this little shelf, there's a small ruin. Like most desert washes, there's natural stairs as we come up, like this one in front of us. As we go, we also have a number of rock faces that we have to climb up and over, eventually making it back to the grotto. So we've come from that direction, and we are hiking around to this wall. This little grotto back here, but there's no moisture in here. But you can see. My brother-in-law Ted went up the right side of the canyon. He actually found a route to go up and some spots where some people had passed previously, but it was pretty steep and rigorous, so we did not go up and over. Morning, this is our 3rd day on our river trip down to San Juan. Today's our final day, just a little 7-mile run. We'll hit a couple of Class 2 rapids and be into our out spot. But before we go, this is our campsite, and there's a creek that flows into this campsite. And I'm going to hike down the creek a little bit, see what kind of hidden gems I can find along the creek. Join me as we discover some of the beauty along this section of the creek and along the river the rest of the morning. So we're going to head down into the creek. This is the creek. See what kind of unique rock features or configurations maybe down here. It's kind of a cool overhang. Head down this side of the creek. Excuse me. That last section we went through on river right was the overhanging ledge. Now we're on river left, further upstream. You've got similar configurations here, but you can see all the mineral deposits coming out of the side of the creek. And then we've got this large cliff right behind it. Same deep red rock. We're back on river left, and it's more of this red rock cliff, but the interesting part about this is most of the time we're walking on bedrock because all the silt's been washed away in the sand. But up here next to the wall, there's a fine layer of orange dirt, an inch or two thick. Anyway, real pretty back in here, pretty red rock country. So we came around the corner, and that rock formation is staring us in the face. And that is the namesake for the town that we will get out at. We're at the end of day 3, less than a mile from the takeout spot, and this is the last Class 2 rapid. Sit back and enjoy the last Class 2 rapid as we end our 3-day kayaking trip down the San Juan River.